I've got it figured.
You do?
I've had two separate folks tell me there have been strangers around these parts last couple nights. Can't tell what they look like, because they're staying in the shadows, covert-like. Nobody's been hurt, mind you, and that's the giveaway.
I see.
It's called probing. It's a military procedure. You send out a reconnaissance group, very small, check things out. Not to engage, but to evaluate the situation, evaluate the level of danger, make sure things are all clear.
Clear for what?
For the rest of them.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm outside. It's freezing cold. Sorry about the screw up at the beginning. It was, I'm not one of those fancy people with like two monitors and all kinds. It's just a laptop, so I have to switch around between YouTube and StreamYard, and different settings need to be set up on each one. One has to be muted. The other one can't be muted. It's just a pain in the ass, but I apologize. And looks like YouTube's quite a ways behind. So just to let you know, I mostly just look at the StreamYard screen. So if it'll show up in both chats, but it'll be way delayed on StreamYard. I mean, I have a link pinned if anybody wants to join and throw in their 2 cents worth, but I'm pretty shadow banned. So even though I have quite a few subscribers, like nobody ever sees it. But the, there's clear shill channels, like preppers, that have ridiculous amounts of subscribers, and all they do is try and sell you garbage. I don't want anything from you except for you to think. And I mean, you've got prepper channels like Angry Prepper, and I have no problem with Angry Prepper. I mean, he seems like he's probably a pretty cool dude. I don't know. But he's got like a ridiculous amount of subscribers, and he doesn't even do prepping. I mean, for crying out loud, he lives in New York City. So he's not prepping in New York City, okay? The only thing you can do is hide out in your apartment building in New York City and be buried in the rubble when they destroy it. So he's not a prepper channel. Mostly it's a fear porn channel, but that's fine. He can do what he wants. I don't have any problems with it. I watch his videos from time to time, but it's rarely, if ever, about prepping. It's usually about disasters and how awful the world is, which, yeah, we already know that. But so I've noticed in the last week or so on like on X and on my YouTube feed, I can't get away from this drone stuff. It's absolutely insane. Now I do fly drones and I own drones, so I know a little bit about it, but there's like multiple layers to this nonsense going on right now. I'm not even sure where to start. I guess I'm not going to give you answers because I don't know. I just know it's nonsense, but I will give you my brief overview at the end of what I think is going on. Can't prove it, but feel fairly confident about it. But so there's a lot of potential scenarios. One is it's possible that there were UAPs that were showing up and the military either sent aircraft and unmanned drones up to investigate or to fill the skies with enough other stuff that they can say are drones because they're their drones, to cause confusion. Some people think that the whole point of the psychological operation is to create panic and fear in the people. And if that is their purpose, they failed miserably unless they got something else planned that's going to get really crazy. Because right now, from what I can tell, all they're really doing is angering people because they're not getting any information or truth or questions answered. And I think that's upsetting them, but I wouldn't say that it's, nobody's running around scared. Okay. If anything, they're making themselves look super inept, unless, again, like I said, they have something planned ahead of, or in the future, where there's going to be some mayhem surrounding these drones. Now, saying that they're from another country, I think, is ludicrous. Our air defense system is at least that good, although right now it doesn't look like it's good at all, but it is. The military has technology that we don't even know about. They could vaporize these things in a heartbeat if they wanted to. There's a lot of, here's the problem, is we live in a world of deception. Pretty much everybody is a liar. You can't believe almost anything that you see or hear. I mean, I don't know how to even put myself in the mindset of somebody who goes, oh, there's this drone swarm thing going on, I'm going to fake some videos. Like, to me, that is just like a broken person. You imagine the time and effort, and the whole time that they're like doing their CGI and putting stuff in the sky, they have hours or even days while they're creating this to just stop and go, wait a minute, what am I doing? This is ludicrous. It's mind-blowing how many people are just deceivers and will do anything. And the part that's really weird is, like, okay, so there's a video that allegedly shows somebody shooting a gun, one of these things, which is, these are people who don't know anything about guns and don't understand a lot of things. That's an airsoft gun using tracer BBs. And I'll get to you in a minute, Cecil. I just want to spit this stuff out first. And it's superimposed over the original video, so it's not even legitimate. And people are going, it sounds like a 22 rimfire. It's like, what? Did you read that somewhere? Because it's clearly an airsoft gun. The bullets are arcing terribly, using BB tracers. And it's, like I said, you can see the original video without the tracers. So everybody just has to, it's all confusion, deception. And so you can't believe anything you hear. And people are saying, I'm trying to think of some of the narratives. The nuke sniffers. Okay, that's another narrative that people are running with. These are nuke sniffers looking for a dirty bomb on the East Coast. Okay, a couple problems with that. For one, nuke sniffers work pretty quickly. It doesn't take weeks. They pretty much can cover a massive area and detect gamma radiation or any sort of radiological or biological item quickly and pretty efficiently. It doesn't take them weeks. They wouldn't do it just at night because there's like, oh, they don't want the public to panic. Well, then why would you put them up at night with FAA warning lights on them so that everybody sees them? So that's a problem. And just the fact that these things do have the FAA anti-collision lights on them, okay, that right there eliminates a lot of possibilities. Okay, and it has to be military. I think what happened was something started this. I don't know what, but then I think the military started putting up drones to cause confusion, or it could have been them from the beginning. Who knows? And then just Joe Blow out there with a DJI just started putting up his drone. And now you've got all these people putting up drones to catch the drones or see the drones or record the drones. Now you've got an armada of drones basically in the sky. Some of the things are clearly helicopters. Some of the things are clearly airplanes. And so that brings us to the orbs, because most of these things are shaped either like a quadcopter, a helicopter, a standard drone shape, or an airplane shape. But you do get the ones that look like a ball of energy. All right, so let me explain something. First of all, I've looked up at the sky my whole life. I've been fascinated with looking up at the sky. Most people don't. They never give it a second thought. Nobody looks up. Okay, now people are suddenly looking up, and what they're seeing are things that people who look up all the time see all the time, and they're thinking it's something else. Venus and Jupiter are both prime examples. Now, you can't record Venus or Jupiter with a cell phone. If you try and zoom in on it, it's just going to be a blurry orb. And some of these things, it's clearly a wandering star that they're filming, and they're saying it's a drone, it's an orb. No, it's probably Jupiter, because people aren't used to looking up, and so now they are, and they're seeing things that they have no frame of reference on what they're looking at. Let me go ahead. Let's see, what else was I going to touch on with the nonsense? And the other thing about the nuke sniffer narrative on the East Coast is these things are being seen worldwide now, and even in the United States, they've been seen in Texas, West Coast. They've been seen in like Minnesota. So that narrative falls apart. What is going on? Why are they putting these things up? And I would say at least 95% of them are U.S. military assets. There could be some UAPs up there too. No foreign entities. It's going to be the U.S. and or like Fallen Angels technology, or it could be people using Fallen Angel technology. I think a lot of these things, most of them are unmanned. The manned ones are going to be the ones that look like helicopters and airplanes. The people who are saying that like it's playing stuff over their radio, it's making their microwaves freak out, it's leaving no heat signature. Now, how do you know it leaves no heat signature? I mean, Joe Blow out there doesn't have capability to detect heat signatures. Okay, this is, people hear stuff and they just run with it. There's no evidence or support of any of these claims. The radio station's getting weird. That's 101 trickster stuff. That's easy to do. All right. But saying that when a craft approaches them, they go dark or disappear. Okay, where's the footage? I haven't seen that. There's a lot of CGI manipulation and people just trying to get clicks. And it's really sad that we can't trust anyone really, because everybody's a deceiver. They just want that moment of being able to say my video went viral, because knowing that they faked it. But it is what it is. Let's see. Let's bring Cecil in.
What's up, bro?
Hey, there you are. How you doing?
I'm all right.
And
Driving.
so another thing is, like I said, I have drones, and they have some running lights, very small ones on the wings, and then I have like an adapter that I bought that I stuck on the bottom with Velcro, and it'll do like 8 or 10 different LED light patterns I can turn on before I send it up. Now, one thing with my drones is like, if it's like right above you, you can hear it pretty well. They're not like loud, but you hear them, and the drone has a specific sound. But if I send my drone, say, I don't know, I've never tested it, I would say send it up 50 feet and then shoot it out like, I don't know, 200-300 yards. There's no sound. These things that they're showing on this video, these things are massive, okay? And some of them, you can see the quadcopter, you can see the 4 legs and the propellers on them. I will give it that they're either editing the audio and taking the sound out, or this is more proof of military technology, because those things should be loud. They should really be humming it up. And like I said, they're either muting the audio or they're replacing the audio track with silence or something, or the military has just this amazing stealth technology with their drones. But like I said, my drone, if I sent it out, I don't know, 500 yards and say 200 feet up in the air, and you tried to video it at night with the camera, I think you'd get an orb. It's not going to show any detail. All the lights are going to blend into one light, and it's going to be basically impossible to focus it, because there's just not enough there in the dark and the distance to focus. So it's just going to lock in at infinity and show you basically a ball. And the ball that it shows you probably, or very well, could not even match any of the colored lights. It could all look as like an orange light, but when you bring the drone in, it could be red and green. So there's a lot of deception and going on. And like I said, at the end, I can't do this for too long because I'm outside and my battery will only last for so long. But I'll tell you what I think is going on at the end. But Cecil, do you have any takes? Or if anybody's seen one in person, I live out in the middle of nowhere and I see stuff all the time, but not like that. I don't see what looks like a drone. I just see white lights in the sky that do weird stuff. But they're clearly way, way up there in the air. And
I live in the Boise Treasure Valley area, and I can take you to the field where the the nuke sniffers take off, it's a modified helicopter that they use because there's a lot of commercial traffic that goes through here on the 84, and they're like looking mostly for large cargoes that are hauling bio or nuke. I know where those things operate around here. I just watched a video of Alex Jones taking down a freaking drone with a sword. So, this shit is already like grifter central. Like, everybody's hopping on it, trying to make money off of it. I don't know, man. It's probably just the military laughing at everybody right now.
I think it's the military. And when I tell you what I think this is all about, I can tell you why the government doesn't care that they look like idiots right now. Because if they get what they want, which they probably will, more than likely, it's not going to matter what you think of them.
I mean,
I'll just tell you what I think. I'll just tell you what my opinion on the whole thing is. It's military government run, and it's basically Patriot Act 2.0. And I think to really pull it off, they're going to have some sort of incident. Either they're going to have to fly one of these things into like the intake on a jet engine and bring the jet down, or it's going to have to start visibly spraying stuff or dropping incendiaries, burning houses up. Something's going to have to happen. And then we're going to see, well, they've been trying to take drones out for a while now with DJI. They've been trying to make them illegal. I think they tried to do it and it failed or something, but they're going to come out with, basically we're going to lose more rights, including private drone usage, and probably much more than that. Like this is going to be the Patriot Act 2.0. They're going to have to make changes and restrictions to our freedom in order to ensure our safety is going to be the narrative.
Right. Trump's over there, supposedly, Trump is over there saying that the government needs to tell us what's going on, what they are. The military doesn't have to tell the civilian sector what's going. If they're running drill, they don't have to tell them nothing.
No, and Trump knows what they are. But the thing is, when he said if they don't tell us what they are, they should be shot down. Well, you've got all these cult members that are, MAGA lovers who think that he's the Messiah, and if he says shoot him down, you're going to start seeing. And this is another way to restrict people's freedoms with the Second Amendment. You're going to get these idiots who are going to go out there and start firing off rounds at these things, and they're either going to hit a civilian like a helicopter or something, or what goes up must come down. Those rounds are coming down somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And the other thing is, all these sightings are over like neighborhoods and metropolitan areas. You're not seeing people seeing drones out in the middle of like West Texas. They're seeing them over populated areas, which is another thing. I mean, really, you fly them only at night. Like, apparently the sniffers only work at night. You have to have FAA collision avoidance lights so that people can't help but see them, and they're putting them in places where they get the most eyes on them. Like, obviously it's on purpose. And then you're going to get somebody this, pulls out a 12 gauge or a 30-06 or an AR-15 and just starts unloading at them. And that's going to be all it takes. That's going to be the trigger where they just go, whoa, we're going to have to place some restrictions on this. And a lot of people don't understand. And how crazy is that for the president-elect to basically put it out in the public that they should start shooting them down? I mean, that's kind of what he did with January 6th, where he was telling people to, stand up for the country and let them, and then they all went to prison, and he just like la-di-dot off stage left, which is kind of what he's setting them up again. And it's going to be for gun confiscation, because you can't just have people shooting at stuff in the sky.
I mean, yeah, it does kind of smell like a honeypot.
It's a January 6th on steroids, and I think it's going to be a bigger hit than the Patriot Act, which took away rights that a lot of people still have no idea what all that entailed. And this is just another way to lock the people down, restrict their freedoms and their rights. And you can trace it back to a stupid Truth Social post that Trump made, where he basically told his followers that these things should be shot down. So you go another week or two with no answers, and the people are just getting more and more and more fed up. It's not a matter of if, it's when. Somebody's just going to go outside and start popping rounds at these things.
Right. And then something's going to happen. Somebody's going to pull out a freaking Barrett or something, and the round's going to fly over and kill somebody. And then Trump's going to come out and say, no, what I meant was.
Yeah, he'll never take accountability. And just like now, you see all these people online just throwing fits about Fauci this, Fauci that, Fauci should be in prison. And I'm like, who ushered Fauci onto the world stage and stood right behind him every day on the podium, never apologized, never fired him, never went back and said, you know what, I was misled. He's doubled down. And people are just focused on Fauci. And I'm like, what about the guy, his boss, who was the one that put him out there and gave him free reign, and then never said anything negative about Fauci and never didn't fire him, nothing. And it's like, these people just give him a pass.
Witness protection program now.
Oh, Fauci is?
Yeah.
Well, that's not, in my opinion, that's not near good enough. I mean, I think he should be lynched, but I don't think he should be lynched alone. I think there's a whole group of them that should go up there, and Trump's right up there at the top. And these people, they've memory hold 2020 to a point that is mind-blowing. And I've seen so many excuses like, well, he didn't know, he was being misled and he was being lied to by experts. And I'm like, wait a minute. First of all, Fauci killed millions in the 80s with the AIDS thing. Secondly, if he was duped, he's never apologized. He's actually doubled down and calls himself the father of the vaccine, and he's super proud of warp speed, and he says it was like the greatest invention ever. He's never walked that back. But these people give him I don't know what kind of a spell he has on people, but these people will do anything and say anything to justify his actions. And they don't know what's coming. I wish I could just shake it out of them, but they're going to find out the hard way that this is not the person that they thought they voted for.
You know what else has been memory old is remember when everything was about voting machines? Like, whatever happened to that? All of a sudden, you don't hear anything about it anymore.
No, Trump wins and it was all legit, but when he loses, it's all voting machines. But right. I believe that he had to skip the term that was in the plan from the beginning because the timing wasn't right. There had to be that 4-year gap, and it also had to cover the April 8th second eclipse from the 2017 to 2024 eclipse to finish that portion of it. And I think there were some other things they had to get in place, and then they also had to get people so disgusted by Biden and his administration that no matter how wretched Trump is, everybody just views him as a huge upgrade to Biden. So Trump was always meant to skip that 4-year gap. Nothing to do with voting machines. They don't count votes. People think that those voting machines probably aren't even plugged in. Like, they don't need the voting machine. Why would you have to manipulate a voting machine when you make up the voting numbers yourself? You don't need that. You just go, oh, this one won. Here's the numbers. And people just go, oh, okay. It's insane how people actually think voting is a real legitimate thing. It's not. It's an illusion to give people the thought that their voice, they have a voice, that it matters, and it doesn't. These people don't care who you vote for. If anything, they put you on a list of who you voted for just for future reference in case they need to call the herd of a certain demographic.
Well, it's not just that. It's also, if you cast a vote for somebody, you are condoning whatever it is that person does to you.
Yeah, I mean, if you voted for Trump in 2016, you're partially liable for Operation Warp Speed because you gave him your consent. And then somebody asked in the questions how Kamala and what's his name, Walls, would have been better. I had a better chance of winning than those two. You got to understand, this is a script that's playing, okay? That's like saying I'm going to be on like an episode of Seinfeld next week. It's not, okay? I'm not written into the script. Kamala and Waltz were just characters, and they played their role. And that was to basically be complete psychopaths and exit stage left. It's people think that like they call it political theater. They call the world stage, and people still think any of this is real. Yeah, and you think anybody would have taken the jab under Hillary? Do you think anybody would have gone along with the lockdowns and the jabs under Hillary? They put people in that they know are going to fit the agenda that they have planned. Whatever they got planned coming, nobody would listen to Kamala. Okay, it would fail. So they have to put somebody in there that these rabid cult members are going to follow no matter what he says. People would ignore Kamala for 4 years. I mean, they couldn't move their agenda.
Well, she kind of like just played it off and was like a placeholder, really. Every time somebody tried to ask her or something, she just laughed. And then, they were like, so what did you actually do in the last 4 years? And she laughed some more at him, Like,
yeah, that was her role. These are actors playing scripts. If you talk to her one-on-one, like in your living room, she'd probably just be a normal person talking to you. Same with Joe Biden, that whole turning the wrong way and wandering off aimlessly and having to be turned around and go the right way. That's all an act. These people don't understand. This is all an act. It's just I think these people who run the show laugh their asses off when people like get all like bent out of shape over, look at this guy, he's got dementia, he can't even like do that. And they sit there and laugh at your expense because they're just like, these people are fucking gone. That's why I don't think that they have a big problem with killing people, because they're just like, these people are useless.
Well, I mean, you got to be incredibly freaking dumb to fall, and that is kind of like, dude, there's so much pollution here, and they're like fucking with the water supply. I mean, at least some of it is by design, but like, dude, I drink bottled water. I don't watch mainstream media. I don't watch television at all. I try to be healthy. I don't have more than a high school education, a little bit of tech school, dude. I could see through all this shit.
That's
like,
why.
It's not that hard.
That's why you can see through it.
Right.
If everybody was just homeschooled, within one generation, everybody would be awake.
Right. Right.
But I feel really bad for these people who don't know what's coming, because I've known for years what's coming with Trump. And I mean, these people who are so vested in Trump, when he reveals his true self, I don't know. It's sort of like the rapture. When the tribulation starts and these people are still standing here, that's why God said that first there will be a great falling away, because these people are going to lose all faith when suddenly they're like, how come I'm still here? Well, it's because you were lied to, and you bought into disinformation and deception, and you based your life on it. And now guess what? And I think that's where the great falling away is gonna happen, is when people aren't magically whisked away with a get out of jail free card.
That's Protestant thinking.
Yeah, and the other thing about the rapture is it's an American doctrine, really. I mean, most of the rest of the Christians in the world haven't even heard of it and it's just not even on their radar because it's not in the Bible. So, and then to think that, like I said before, Christians are being slaughtered in mass around the world and have been for decades. But like, try being a Christian in Africa or China right now. You'll be dead the second they find out, they kill you. But it's only the Americans who will be saved from tribulation. Like, these people, they're Christians, but they're in Africa, or they're in China, or they're, in Taiwan or somewhere. It's fine. But don't even try this with America, because God will take all his people. And, people don't think. It's really sad. But the deception of people are, and the amount of hope they're putting into Trump, I mean, they haven't looked into him, because it doesn't take much to find out who he really is. And it's not good.
He's a demagogue.
Well, and then he's already said you'll never have to vote again. He's the last president. So he's not worried about, even if it was real and he couldn't serve a third term. He has nothing holding him back at this point. And so, I mean, I'm talking day one. I think we're going to see some really crazy stuff go down from Trump. And I don't think he's going to waste much time. He's already said the Abrahamic Accords, getting more countries on there, his covenant with many, top priority. Making anti-Semitism illegal in America, top priority. He's already said all this stuff he's going to do on day one. And that's just like the start of it. I mean, he's not even getting warmed up.
Right. Like,
the difference.
People forget that he was a New York Democrat his whole life. And you know what lives in New York, okay? And like all these hardcore Republican Christians, oh, Trump, he's my savior. Like, come on, man.
I wouldn't even categorize him as a New York Democrat. I would categorize him as a Khazarian Jew. Yeah,
exactly. A mafioso.
Yeah, he's a what do they call it? Something con. I don't know what they call him. Somebody asked about Joe Biden's ears changing. Yeah, there was more than one Joe Biden. There's more than one Donald Trump. There's more than one. There was 2 to 3 of each of the Beatles. They all have doubles and stand-ins that wear masks and people who just have been altered surgically to resemble them. Again, all the world's a stage. They tell you right up front. All these people have doubles. You think Eminem's the same Eminem that from 10 years ago? Do you think Dave Chappelle's the same Dave Chappelle? There's no way. I'm going to do a video pretty soon on all the celebrity lookalikes, and I've categorized them into like 5 different categories of these people who look exactly alike. Some of them are crazy, like crazy. And it's not, I mean, when you look at like Hollywood actors or singers, it's like a percentage of 1% of just America, let alone the world. There's no way you'd have 2 people in the same vocation known by millions who look literally like identical twins and have no alleged relationship to each other at all. So you have to understand how this world works before you start going, yeah, but what about, it's like, you have to understand who the God of this world is. Okay. The great deceiver, the father of lies. Of course, everything you're shown and told is going to be nonsense. Satan runs this realm. You're not going to get truth. Okay. You're going to get truth from one source. Like Jesus said, be in this world, but not of it. Because if you're of this world, you're living in deception. You have to view yourself as just passing through. Like going, this place sucks. It's crazy. I'm just passing through.
That's the Viking way. And that's why they were so fearless in battle. Because they knew that this was all just temporary. This is just a plane of a vibration. Have you seen this video of like how they found a bunch of the big one is Leonardo DiCaprio, but also Keanu Reeves, how they found all these Hollywood actors like in old pictures from like the 1800s and stuff like that? Have you seen that?
Yeah, that's gonna be in my celebrity doubles. That's one of the categories.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have it in like 5 different categories, and one of them is the I don't know what I called it, but it's basically individuals from the past who look like they've been brought back, or I think I call it like the vampire method, where there's people from like this 1800s who are spitting images of people today. And I mean, I don't think people understand the fallen angel technology that exists around us that most people aren't aware of and have zero access to. But these people have knowledge and technology given to them by the fallen ones that most people are never going to know about.
Oh yeah, dude.
And how they do it, like how they get a guy like from the 1850s that looks exactly like Eddie Murphy today.
Right.
I don't know. I don't want to know. I don't care. It's enough for me to know it's a deception and I'm being deceived, or the world's being deceived. And these people, there's something non-godlike or non-biblical going on, that's all I need to know. Is like, okay, there's some shenanigans going on, and I just move on. But I am going to make the video more out of because it's like kind of interesting, and it's a little less, it causes people to get a little less irritated than like saying that there's drones or there's this or the Antichrist or this. Just it's almost, I wouldn't say a fun video, but it's just a little different and a little off topic, just to give people like a kind of a change of pace and to go, that's interesting, that's weird, okay, and then they can go about their day. But it's not like a deal breaker or a life changer. It's just be aware of the fact that you're being deceived from every possible angle and live your best life.
I mean, if you think about it, man, the last, I don't know, 40, maybe 50 years, we could probably say, like, since into World War II, there haven't really been that many technological breakthroughs other than like communication technology, which is designed to put us all under surveillance and, basically enslave us.
Yeah, there's a channel, I think it's called Quantum of Conscience. I don't know if it's still around. I assume it probably is.
Don't even get me started on that guy.
He does have one thing that I like, and he calls it the stalled century. We're basically saying since 2000, things have not progressed, not moved forward, or stalled completely. Like movies have gone backwards. They're horrible. Music is unlistenable now. Like basically how, like, you can look at fashions, like you can look at a photo of something and go, oh, that's the 1970s. They can tell by the clothing, you can tell by the cars. And around 2000, you could look at any photo pretty much from 2000 to 2024, and you can't say, oh, that's 2010s, that's the 2020s. It's stalled, and it's just all the same. And there's no, like, you can look at a picture of somebody from the 1980s, and that photo was taken in the 1980s. And then that just came to an abrupt halt in like 2000. And it's just been like, there's been no changes or improvements other than, like you said, technology. But is that really an improvement? I mean, it brought us mRNA. I mean, is that an improvement?
The earlobe thing, I think the earlobe thing, I'm not sure about this, but I heard somewhere that the earlobe thing is dependent on whether or not you're RH negative or RH positive.
Yeah, I don't know. I just know that there's two Bidens who have two different earlobes, and I think there's more than two Bidens, but I do know that, and they do that on purpose because it's revelation of method. It's a karmic law, God's law, that you have to tell people what you're doing, and if they don't see it, it's not on you. And I think that happens more frequently than people realize, that they put it right out there, and if you aren't discerned enough to see it, then it's almost like they get a pass.
Pretty much. It alleviates their conscience of saying, the smart ones will be able to see it and get around it, and the dumb ones are pretty much going to get what they deserve.
Yeah, I think that's how they view it. And I don't know what God's actual law is. I think he still frowns upon it because you're deceiving his people. But I think it's like it's like a misdemeanor compared to a felony, where if you just do it with no foresight, no warning. But like in a year from now or 6 months, you'll be able to look at this drone thing, look back on it and go, oh, I see what they were saying. They were telling us blah, blah, blah. And that relieves them of like some sort of level of karmic justice by saying, we told them, but they all thought it was like,
Trump is going to come out and say, oh no, I meant when I said that we should shoot it down, that we should have the military or we should have somebody else go and shoot it down, not some dumb redneck on the street with a rifle.
Yeah,
but
that's why he leaves himself that wiggle room by the way he words things. He's very good at what the Freemasons call what do the Freemasons call it? They call it oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank. They call it something speaking. Anyway, you'll see a lot of Freemasonic
double speak.
It's called oh shoot, I can't believe I just said this word like a day ago. But like you'll see, like a good example, if you ever saw Paul McCartney when he was on, I think it was David Letterman, and David Letterman was talking about the rumors that he was replaced, and he said that there was a double out there, and Paul McCartney said, yeah, that's me, you're speaking to him. Okay, that's revelation. He told you that he's not the original Paul McCartney, but he does it in a way where it's humorous and people laugh at it. So Trump's good at that too, where he means one thing, but the way he words it, most people are going to take it one way instead of literal the way he really means it.
Yeah.
Oh dang, what's that called? It's called something speaking, and it's a Freemasonic tactic that they use all the time.
Are you talking about NLP, neuro linguistic programming?
No, it's called masterful speaking is what it's called. It's a Freemasonic tactic called masterful speaking, and it's a way to say something without the people realizing what you're really saying. It's a skill and it's an art. And these people, I mean, these are like 33rd degree and above Masons that master this masterful speaking technique. But if you know what to look for and you know it exists, then you listen to these people in interviews and stuff, and you're like, you see right through it. You're like, oh. And it's sort of like you said when Trump said they should be shot down. He'll just say, well, I meant the military, obviously. And his cult followers who go out with their gun and start shooting at these things in the sky, do you think he's going to pardon them? No.
Dude, one of the first people that Trump pardoned when he got into office this last time was this like Jewish, he was like some dude that the Jews wanted released from prison. It was like did a bunch of horrible shit. He was like a mass rape or sexual assaulter or whatever.
Yeah,
he like did,
he's at the bidding of them, and a lot of people don't know this. He's on their coin, their temple coin with Cyrus. They've renamed part of Golan Heights Trump Heights. They've renamed a public square Trump Square. They've got like a Trump Street. There's something else. There's like several other things. He's already being named all these things over there. He was given the crown. He's been made their King David, their Messiah. They've already given him a crown and a certificate and everything. He's already been crowned. And he even said on an interview, if he went to Jerusalem, it was right before the election. He goes, I'd get 99% of the vote. And I still think that he will relocate to Jerusalem as America starts to burn. He's just going to slide right on out, and he'll rule and reign from Jerusalem, and America's just going to burn.
Yeah.
But he is their Mashiach, and they're saying that he's their their David, whatever you call it. What's that?
He's the way they term it, it's the Gentile Messiah.
Yeah, but he's the one they've been waiting for. And people don't understand even the amount of Bible prophecy he's already filled for the son of perdition is, I don't know if there's anything left except for signing the Abrahamic Accords with more people and building the third temple and then blaspheming it and breaking the covenant. That's pretty much all he's got left.
Wow. Yeah.
It's insane if you check all the boxes and see what prophecy he's already fulfilled. It's like 95%. And people will still say it's King Charles. It's not King Charles. Nobody likes that guy. Nobody would follow him. Nobody would listen to him. He's ridiculous. And I still hold strong that Elon Musk is the false prophet. People saying that it's the Pope. I don't see it. I think the Vatican, apparently they're almost bankrupt. He's making some crazy claims, with transgender and homosexual and aliens and just these off the wall statements. And plus he's as old as dirt. The Pope, if anything, is losing any amount of credibility he had. I just don't see. He might be the last Pope, but he's not the false prophet. The false prophet is going to be about technology. He gets the people to accept the mark, to worship the beast. And what's Elon Musk? He's technology. He's got people so hoodwinked. That guy is pure evil. Like, he's evil on a level that most people can't. He's up there with Trump. I mean, he's bad. And people think he's gonna do all these wonderful things, and it's like he's gonna lock you down in ways that digital currency and Neuralink and digital IDs, and you have no idea what's coming with Musk. And he's faking the SpaceX thing. That is Project Bluebeam. That is a hologram launching and landing. How people can look at that and go, "That's a real rocket landing on a pair of chopsticks." It's like, you've got to be shitting me. That is Project Bluebeam. That's what all you truthers have been clamoring about for 3 decades. Is, well, Bluebeam, it's going to be Bluebeam, and it's like, it's happening right in front of your face right now, and you don't see it.
Well, most people think that Project Bluebeam is going to be a fake alien invasion. That's
right.
The definition.
But people have been saying that since the 90s. So do you think that's what they're going to do with it? Or are they going to fake space and probably some other stuff? I mean, I think SpaceX is a test run for Bluebeam to see basically how people accept it. And I mean, these people are like almost in tears watching SpaceX launches. Like, they are losing their minds. And it's like, wow. How can you not tell that that's a separate layer from the video? Like, it's a projected holograph. I mean, the law of physics alone tells you that you can't, that little flame shooting out the bottom isn't going to stop like a 50-ton chunk of metal that's coming down at thousands of miles an hour. And then it's this little big flame comes out the bottom and it stops. And then they steer it. How do they steer it?
Right. Well, I mean, look, maybe we have satellites in like low atmospheric orbit because the atmosphere is preventing them from being taken out by space dust or whatever. But if what we're being told of what physicists tell us is true about total vacuum, anything going up there could get taken out by a freaking M&M. Or,
I can't verify this, but there was a NASA whistleblower who reportedly, like I said, I've never met the person. I've never seen it on video but they say that this ex-NASA employee who's a whistleblower said that when you get to a certain altitude, I think it's like 72 miles, the atmosphere changes to like a thick gas and then into a plasma and then into a solid barrier. So they can get up high enough to where they can get close to basically the firmament where it goes from plasma to solid, but they're not allowed to. And that begs the question, who's telling NASA you can't go there, you can't do that, that's forbidden? So, I mean, that shows you that the pyramid just keeps going up. I mean, it goes all the way up to Satan, but there's levels below that, and wherever NASA fits in that, there's entities above NASA that says you can't go up there. Is it true? I have no idea. It makes sense. I know there's a firmament. I know they can't get through it. But it also makes sense that the mediums would change as you got higher and higher and closer and closer. And I think that there's a lot of proof that there is basically at least a plasma. If you watch that Go Fast rocket where it's shooting up and spinning really quick and all of a sudden it makes that like kerplunk sound and it just stops spinning and it just floats there for a second. Have you seen that video of the Go Fast rocket?
No, I keep on hearing things that they're saying that space is actually like a big fat, like it's liquid up there, which doesn't really make sense to me. I would think it would be thicker down here where we are and thinner up there.
No, it gets thinner and then it becomes a plasma and then a hard barrier. And then the water is on the other side of that barrier. And that's why the skies are blue. It's just on the other side of the glass ceiling, basically.
Okay.
But the thing I've noticed about Elon is he's making some outrageous claims, especially about going to Mars, colonizing it. He talks about like being an intergalactic species and these claims that are just absolutely ludicrous. But then it dawned on me, he's not going to ever have to back up any of these claims because I think we have 10 years max left, probably closer to 7, and Christ returns and it's all over. And so he can say anything and he knows it. We're not going to be around long enough for him to like, nobody's going to have to see him like put people on Mars. So that's why he's saying such crazy, elaborate things, because he knows he's not going to have to ever even attempt it. He'll send up his hologram blue beam rockets, up to 10 miles or however high up they go, and then they float back down. But there's not going to be, they could maybe do an unmanned fake mission to Mars, but they're not sending people anywhere. He's not going to, I don't think they're even going to try and fake it that much, because one thing people have to understand with what's coming, a lot of these things are going to be, nobody's going to care. Like, you're going to be trying to not die. So, hey, whatever happened to us going to Mars? It's like, that's going to be on the bottom of your list, because you're going to be like, how do I not die today? Let's see. I got some questions here.
I can't wait for all these freaking egotistical government workers to be like not harassing people about over stupid shit. Like, don't you want to freaking talk? No, dude. No, exactly. I'm too busy trying to survive. I don't want to go to your therapy session or talk to you about the way I feel. You're basically a useless part of our society, as the equivalent to communist commissars. Like, I don't really want to talk to you, dude. Leave me alone. I'm self-employed.
Well, another thing is the this Doge thing that Elon and that street shitter Vivek, I don't know how to say his name, how they're going to go in there and they're going to clean out all the fat in government. Right. They're going to clean out they're going to trim all the fat in government. Well, if that happens, here's my problem is, under what authority? You can't just make a department in the government with no congressional oversight and just say, hey, me and this guy now have the authority to eliminate the Department of Education. Okay. It doesn't work that way. You don't just come off the street and go, I'm part of the Department of Government Efficiency and you're fired. It's like, you don't have that authority. But with the way I look at it is, first of all, replace it with what? That's one thing nobody asks. What are you going to replace it with? And secondly is let's say somehow Trump signs an executive order and says these two guys can basically clean house. If that happened, and if everybody didn't lose their mind, and if the rest of the government didn't fight against it, and it did happen, in my opinion, is to get rid of unnecessary. I mean, we all know they're unnecessary, but if you're looking at a new world order, you don't need a Department of Education or Food and Drug Administration, right? Right. The new world order is going to be run probably, I don't know, out of Israel or somewhere in the EU or something, or maybe even, I don't think the United States, because I don't think the United States is going to be around that much longer, but they're going to restructure everything. They don't need these, people are going to be thinking, oh, look at Elon. He's cleaning house. He's saving us all this money. No, he's cleaning house to make room for a completely new form of worldwide government. But I got a couple questions here I was going to look at, and let's see. Okay. So Mary has I guess a few questions in a row here. I'm just going to give you the really, really short answer without going into detail. So she asked, why are nukes fake? Fear and control. Who built the pyramids? The Nephilim. Are aliens real? They're fallen angels. So those are the abbreviated answers. Are all Elon Musk videos of his rockets fake? Yes. But I mean, the they call it the chopsticks. It's like that recovery launch pad with the two little forks sticking out that the rocket just settles right back into. I think that's a real item. That exists. They built that. It's sitting on a launch pad. But they launch and recover a hologram into that. So it blends with, so you've got reality mixed with augmented reality. And so you get these people, and it's a brilliant move because they let these people be 5 miles away and they all film the launch with their iPhones, right? And then they have this phone and they post it and oh, here's a SpaceX launch. Well, it's a hologram. Yeah, you're going to be able to record it. From 5 miles away, it's going to look really real. And just the camera cuts alone when the rocket's taking off and landing. I mean, there's times where they're showing a side profile of the rocket going thousands of miles an hour straight up, and something is, even with it tracking it, I mean, it's ludicrous. And then they get these crazy angles when it's coming back down where they're under the rocket looking straight up at it. I mean, it's all just showbiz. There's no way in reality you would be able to get any of those shots. with a rocket coming down towards you. You're going to be underneath it, looking straight up at it with a camera. Okay. So these are all edits and cuts, and they're fake. But what people are recording on their phones from 5 miles away is a hologram that looks very real from that distance on an iPhone screen.
Do you remember?
And you've got just these people that can verify, I was there, I saw it. It's like, well, did you though?
Those I can't remember the name of them, but it was like those sci-fi programs from like the 70s, 80s, where it was like puppets or like animatronics or whatever. It was like one that had to do with the moon, and what the hell was that called? But anyway, the animations in that where they did the rocket landing going up and down, or like the old Godzilla flicks,
Yeah,
you know, that stuff was better than what Elon is like telling people.
yeah. The 1977 original Star Wars had better, in my opinion, the special effects and graphics look better than that. And that's the same with, I mean, I don't watch cartoons. I did as a kid. I like Bugs Bunny and Johnny Quest and all those, growing up. But if you look at animation today, it is horrible. I mean, it is absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
And it's like, how come Looney Tunes had far superior animation in like the 40s? But so somebody's asking about AI. One thing about AI is you can go back and look at videos where Elon Musk is talking about how AI is basically harvesting demons, and he pushes AI every day now. He's constantly on about Grok and all of his stupid AI, and AI is going to do this. It's like 5 years ago you're on video saying how it's demonic and it's going to like take over the humankind, and it's going to reach, like, it's going to become sentient, and then what? And today he's pushing it every day. He's pushing it. And the thing about Elon, you have to understand, is he's allegedly like the CEO of Tesla, the CEO of SpaceX, the CEO of Starlink, the CEO of Boring, the CEO of X, and I think the other one that makes the flamethrower, I can't remember. I don't know what company that is. He's supposedly like the CEO of 5 or 6 companies. He tweets all day long, literally all day long. He's tweeting, and half of his tweets is talking about he's one of the top Diablo game players in the nation. So you are running 5 or 6 companies, tweeting all day, and playing countless hours of a video game. I mean, how people think that this is a real person that's accomplishing. I mean, how many hours in a day does this guy have? Does he sleep? Does he eat?
Though? Have you ever heard of a video game called Deus Ex?
Yeah, I've heard of it. But
okay.
I mean, Diablo literally means the devil, and that's like he's like one of the top Diablo players, like maybe in the world. I know he's top in the United States.
Deus Ex was like in like I think it came out in like 2001. It used to be like Conspiracy Theory, the video game. Okay. And in the game, there's this guy named Bob Page, who's supposed to be like a philanthropist, or however you say it. And he owns like all these labs where they're doing like experiments on aliens and creating like hardcore nanotech and all these cutting edge technologies. Elon has actually used that screenshots of that character as his Twitter icon, trying to, again, like try to, drop, what would dog whistle to people who know. If you've never studied that video game or know anything about it, I would definitely go do the short tour on it. And it's like in the future where there's like a nanite plague. Nanites are like, they can program these things to be like, act like plagues and shit. And only the rich people get the vaccination or capable of shutting them down. And it's a pretty good game. But that came out in like 2001.
Yeah,
And
that's probably more a revelation of the method where they tell you what's coming because they have to.
Exactly.
And like Werner von Braun wrote a book in the 1950s about a guy going to Mars, and his name was Elon. I mean, the whole thing is insane. Like, what are the odds that the father of modern rocketry in the 1950s wrote a book about a guy going to Mars named Elon? That's like the Baron von Trump books. I mean, there's some really weird stuff going on in this realm.
Well, I think some of that could be fake history, but we'll never know. Trump's supposedly a time traveler and all that. Come on.
Well, the reason that they say that, and I mean, the Baron von Trump book is about time travel, which is very bizarre. But the whole reason they even say that is because his uncle got the Tesla papers when Tesla was unalive. So Trump still is in possession of the Tesla's papers. So, I don't think Trump's smart enough to do anything with them, but I'm sure he knows some people he could give to that could come up with something. But I mean, just the fact that Baron Trump is a time traveler, and it was written like in the late 1800s, early 1900s. I mean, it's just insane. And he lived on like 6th Avenue in New York City, like where Trump Tower's at. I mean, the whole thing, it gets crazier and crazier as you go on.
Yeah.
But I think the drone thing, I think the part of it's a shit test, and part of it, I think the main purpose is there will be something that comes of it. It'll be like something's going to happen. Like I said, whether one of these drones gets sucked into an airplane and it brings it down or something. But the point is to instill more restrictions in freedoms and laws. I don't see how anybody can not see this as what they're planning. It's going to be a lockdown of a lot of things that people take as just a right today. And I think the drones are going to be either completely outlawed or they're going to be restricted to the point where you can basically fly them around your yard at 10 feet. And beyond that, you're going to jail.
Okay, so I worked for Amazon up in Washington, right? And some of their R&D labs were just south of us from Seattle. So I talked to some of the guys who were on like the robotics team and stuff like that. And there was this big thing about, well, what they want is they want drone delivery for Amazon, right?
Yeah, they've been talking about it, or I don't know if they've been testing it or what. It's
But
been like 8 or 10 years.
Or what is it? The federal committee that regulates flight and all this shit won't clear it. Yeah, the FCC. Because what'll happen is a bird will get caught in the props or something, and it'll slam into somebody's house, and they'll get sued, or somebody will die because of it. And so they were testing like serrated props and all this shit to try to chew up birds. Okay, so eventually, what I was told is they're gonna have to come up with a successful drone delivery program in another country like Canada or Mexico. And then once it's proven that it can be done over there, then they're going to move it to America.
Well, it's not going to affect me because where I live, no drones coming out here. I don't care. It would have to have one hell of a battery life. And it's easier for them to send it in a truck. But that's the other thing is none of the stuff that I read about and see, it doesn't impact me in any way. Like I'll never see these drones that people are seeing in New Jersey here, but I like to keep an eye on it because it helps you understand the narrative where they're steering this thing. And so many people seem so perplexed by it. Like, oh, it's aliens, it's this, it's that. And it's like, it's the government and it's an op to take away your rights. That's literally all it is. I think the fact that they're being seen in other places, either they're going to do the same thing in those places or they're doing it as a cover. Like, they're being seen in, I don't know, England or Australia or something to make you think, oh, it's the aliens. They're checking to see if we're, testing our defenses or whatever. But really, it's just a cover to restrict freedoms. And we already know Australia and the UK are hammer fists. I mean, they're worse than us. Like those people are screwed.
Oh yeah,
because they took their guns away. So like they can't even like really revolt. They just have to bend over and say, "Thank you, sir. May I have another?" Because they have like, unless they get machetes and sticks and pitchforks, they really have no repercussion as far as standing up against their controllers. At least here we can put up a fight. with the stuff they got flying around and stuff, I don't know how long that fight would last, but at least we can give it a chance. You know, it's better to die on your feet than on your knees, right?
Right. But yeah, the gun confiscation in Australia pretty much went the same way as the UK. There was like one incident, and they were like, "Oh, that's it. We're rounding them all up. You only need them if you're a rancher or some, you know." And then they
Yeah,
got all
I
the.
think they can only have shotguns, and I think they're like single shot, like where you know with the break where you just have to pop out like the 2 shells per, you know,
Yeah,
like the double barrel shotgun, and it's like for duck hunting. You can only have like certain loads, like bird shot, or I mean, it's like they give a couple of morsels to a few people, but like when I was talking about Trump earlier about these people that make up these excuses, and I was saying how like people say, well, he was deceived by Fauci and all these medical professionals. And I'm like, this is the same guy that plays 5D chess, according to you, right? According to you, Trump's playing 5D chess, right? But Fauci, who knowingly took part in killing millions during the 80s, somehow flew past your radar. I mean, in the links these people will go to justify Trump's actions is mind-blowing. And when he really steps it up after January 21st or whatever, it's going to be really interesting to see how these people play mental gymnastics in order to justify what's coming. Because what's coming is going to be, people have no idea. It's going to be insane. And they're going to be like, well, he has to play ball. How is he going to bring down the deep state? It's like Trump is at the near the top of the pyramid of the deep state. Okay, it's this isn't tough to figure out.
right. It's like being in an abusive relationship with somebody, and you just like make excuses for them all the time. You know, like, okay,
Yeah, and he's already shown he has zero empathy for human life. I mean, think of the children, the working parents, the grandparents that he knowingly injected with something that was going to kill him. Like you, and even in hindsight, he doesn't say like, you know what, I was given some bad advice. He doubles down. He has zero empathy for human life. And it's going to be on full display soon, coming to a town near you. And, you know, people can say I'm full of it. That's fine. I know what scripture says, and I know what he's going to be doing. So you can deny it all you want, but I just don't see, like I said, he checks too many boxes. Like in all of recorded history, if you add up all the supposed Antichrist together, they don't check as many boxes as he's already checked. So if he's not the one, which like there's stuff that's like really deep that like how they say that the son of perdition will be the Assyrian. Well, he lied about his genealogy, and it's been proven that he has Assyrian, and I think it's like Swedish or Switzerland or German or something ancestry. He does have a blood tie to Assyria. And so he's the Assyrian as well. So everything that people say, oh yeah, but the Antichrist, everybody's going to love the Antichrist. The Bible does not say that anywhere at all. It actually says a lot of people are going to hate him. And it also says he's going to come in peacefully and not by force. And he's coming in very peacefully right now. Everybody thinks he's just this kind old man who's going to save America, but he's going to reveal his true self. And when that happens, it's going to be too late for most people. And even those of us who know what's coming, depending on your location, you either are going to stand a chance or you're going to have a hard time. If you're living in the cities still, people that live in the cities, like anybody living in like New York or LA or anything, right. Chicago, Los Angeles, Seattle, Portland, San Diego, Denver, you're done. You just don't know it yet. Even some of the suburbs, like if you're in a suburb of a big city that's got 60,000 people, but I'm 10 miles outside of the city limits. Yeah. Okay. Well, you tell me how that works out for you. The Bible tells us to flee to the wilderness, and I fled. I mean, 4 years ago, I just bailed. And
New Mexico
has 3 counties. I could be one of the first ones they come get. I don't know, but At least I'm not. If I saw these people in the cities on a daily basis, I probably would have killed some of them by now. I mean, I can't. These things aren't even human. I don't have the patience to put up with the nonsense that I see. Like even. But have you seen how after Trump won, they had all these compilation videos of all these women mostly that are just having these meltdowns?
I have a tendency to ignore that sort of thing.
Those are clearly scripted fake breakdowns. They're doing it for clicks. These people, I mean, unless you're completely out of your mind, because the internet never forgets. So why would you put yourself out there for the whole world to see you bawling over an election? I mean, it's so ridiculous. Like your life, it's not. First of all, elections are fake, but I mean, what Trump's going to do, it doesn't matter. The election has nothing to do with it. You should be just crying about like maybe what the Bible tells you is coming, if that's how you're built. But these people that like have these mental breakdowns on, I mean, I guess I can see it because I don't know if it was the booster and all that stuff, that a lot of people are broken, like just broken. You can see like the spark is missing in their eyes.
Political people are like a new type of sports fan.
It's worse though. I mean, like if you look in London and in some of these other countries where their football, those people go nuts for what we call soccer, but it's like their life. Like they will lose their mind, and all they do is just get hammered. And it's all guys. Like you never see that many women like that are wearing the soccer jerseys with the scarves on them and in the pub with the pint, freaking out. It's mostly the guys, but it's like a lifestyle. And it's like, man, you were given a blessing from the Creator to be here and to be healthy. And you're going to spend all your years getting hammered in a pub, watching grown men run around and kick a ball and basically make that like the center point of your existence. It's really sad to see what's going on in this world.
Soccer's really big over in Russia too.
Yeah, the Russians are a little more based though. Like I think they view it more as entertainment as far as like the UK and over there. It's like a lifestyle. It's their identity. Like I don't know, Manchester or whatever. It's like that's their life. Like there's nothing they put higher than their football team. And it's like sometimes when I see the way people behave, and I almost like I don't wish like things upon them, but I'm not gonna like feel super bad that these people put all their effort and energy into materialism and stuff when it's pretty obvious what's coming and they didn't prepare, and they just assume every day is going to be like the day before. When the hammer drops and these people, I mean, you remember the Deagle report from, what was it, 2017, 2016?
That sounds familiar.
Where they predicted the United States population in 2025 will go down to 38 million from 330 million. It's going to drop, I think it was 90% in 2025.
I don't know, man, but a lot of these guys, a lot of these spooks and whatnot, a lot of stuff is hinging on 2025. They're being real secretive about it.
I think 2025 is the year it all officially kicks off. I think 2024 has sucked. It's been one of the worst years of my life for multiple reasons, for a lot of deaths and stuff. But I think 2024 was just like a warm-up, like a stretching exercise. I think 2025 is going to be like nothing anyone has ever seen. And that's going to be the good part, because the last half of the 7-year tribulation is the really bad part. I think by the time 2025 is over, you're going to have a hard time imagining a worse time than 2025, but you'll see it if you're still around. Like I said, I think they're planning on getting rid of a lot of people this year, like a lot.
Yeah. They're already starting to talk about like new viruses and all this other shit, monkeypox, and all this other stuff. COVID. I've had COVID twice. Okay, and yeah, it was like the flu or whatever. But you're right, dude. All the people that got like unalived by it were people who went on these ventilators, who um, they went to the hospital. Mostly old people that they want off their Social Security pension and shit because we're insolvent. Like we're like 40 trillion in debt, mostly to China. We're never gonna be able to pay that back. So what's their answer? We got to go to a war.
Yeah,
We got to go to a war.
some of the one thing I don't understand about like the pathogens that they spread or whatever, however you want to, whatever they do, like however COVID got, like I don't think it was a virus. I think it was some sort of biological pathogen, but how they released it, and like I said, not everybody experienced it. Like I didn't get COVID, never wore a mask, didn't do anything, never got COVID. I was fine. Other people got it 4 times, and I'm like, what was the delivery system? And I think some of it had to do with behavior, especially like these people that kept getting it over and over and over. There's something they're doing in their life that was either causing it or exacerbating it or making them more open to it. Because I only know one person that got like what they say is COVID, but it's not what killed him. It's the hospital protocol. He went to the hospital. They put him on a ventilator with remdesivir, dead.
Oh yeah,
Nobody died. Nobody died at home of COVID. Okay, everybody died going to the hospital and getting treatment. But I think they learned a lot from it, and I think that the next time. But the one thing I don't understand is, however they introduce it out into the general public, is I always wonder how they protect themselves. Like some people are saying that these drones are spraying stuff, over New Jersey, and they're even over the White House. Like there's video today or yesterday showed them over the Capitol or whatever, the White House or something. And I'm like, okay, if they release this pathogen, say in Washington, D.C. or New Jersey or New York, like, A, what is it? And B, how are they protecting themselves from it? Because they got to, they go outside and breathe the same air and stuff that we do. But that's the only part I haven't really been able to put my finger on, is what the delivery system is and how they are immune from it.
It would make more sense to release it over transit hubs like airports or trucking depots or something like that. And Amazon centers.
And I'm not sure that those drones are doing that. I mean, the weirdest part about the drone thing for me is just most of it's done at night with the lights. And so clearly they want you to see them. And then you have to ask, well, why do they want you to see them? And that's why I rule out the like the nuke sniffers, because they're like, oh, they don't want to tell the public they're looking for a nuke. Well, then why are you flying around at night with all your lights and stuff blinking? You'd be way more covert. And secondly, those nuke sniffers, like I said, they don't take weeks to find their target. Like they've got some pretty sophisticated. Actually, in 2023, the Air Force updated all their nuke sniffers. Like they've got really, really good stuff now to find stuff. So I don't think they're looking for something.
Tell people that what vehicles have sensor packages on it. They just do it. And it's mostly, like I said, over major areas of traffic. You know what I mean? Like major highways where a lot of heavy loads are going through, or but dude, that drone thing is probably just the military running drills or conducting something, and they're sitting over there laughing at the civilians. Like they don't have to tell people what they're doing. They're the military.
Yeah, like I said, I just feel bad that people don't. Everybody has so much faith that Donald Trump's going to come in and make America great again, which is another psyop with the whole MAGA. People don't even know what MAGA means, and they wear it on a hat, and they think he's going to come in and he's going to like just change everything and make everything wonderful. At first I thought that he might come in for like a few months or weeks or whatever, half a year, and give that illusion, like the gas prices go down, the food prices go down, everybody's happy, and then he either drops the hammer or he's doing stuff in the meantime in the background that people don't know about. I'm starting to lean more towards from day one he's gonna come out firing, and I do believe 2025 is going to be the worst year any of us have ever seen, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who don't see the end of 2025. And probably, I mean, I don't know if it's going to be like a biological type COVID on steroids attack, or if it's just going to be war. It could be war, and I think that they're going to get to the point. Well, see, I'm under the belief that they really do want to wipe out the white race. So I think you're going to see a draft in America, and I think it's going to be a very broad draft. It's not going to be like fighting age men. I think it may start that way, and then they're going to add women drafted into combat, and then they're going to start lowering the age. And I think by the end of 2025, we might see most young people overseas in battle and probably being sent into a meat grinder on purpose. But 2024 sucked. Like on January 1st of 2024, I got food poisoning. So I was basically sleeping in front of the toilet, throwing up all night. On the 16th of January, my dad died in my house. So I woke up in the morning, went in his room, and he was dead. Then I had to put down 5 puppies and the mother. So I had to shoot 6 dogs that got into the chicken coop and killed like 7 or 9 chickens. And that was January. So I've not been a fan of 2024, but I think it's highly probable I'm going to look back on 2024 and think, man, those were the good old days. I was telling people years ago that 2020, the whole lockdown, which was Trump's, all that, and the other thing that people don't realize is during the lockdowns, when all you people were restricted from moving around, doing whatever, Trump launched his 5G initiative and had 5G towers installed up all over the United States. So all these people who throw these fits about 5G, that's also Trump. They'll never admit it, but I mean, it's not like it takes much research to understand that Trump was in charge of the 5G rollout, and he did it while you were locked down. But I was telling people 2021 that you're going to look back at 2020 and it's going to seem like the good old days. I don't think people fully grasp what's coming.
I was working a state fair this year, and it was the second time that I caught COVID. I mean, the first time I was a DoorDash driver and I caught it, and it's understandably so. And I just drank a bunch of pineapple juice and took vitamin C tablets, and that's how I know that this shit was like engineered somehow, because I took a bunch of vitamin C, and within, I'd say, 2 minutes, the shortness of breath was turned off like somebody flipped a light switch. Like, I've never had an illness react to medicating it that quickly. And then I had it again this year. I probably caught it from somebody. I was working a ticket booth at a fair, and I probably caught it from somebody handed me a ticket or whatever. And it was like flu-like symptoms and whatever. I had a hard time talking for a little while, but I got over it. Never been vaccinated, never been so much as tested, none of that.
If you'd gone to the hospital, you'd be dead right now. I almost guarantee you.
So I actually slipped at work. Somebody spilled a drink in the place I was working had 2 toilets, and they were serving all this beer and liquor, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Somebody spilled their drink in the bathroom, and I slipped and hit my head, like, pretty bad. Like, it knocked me. I was knocked out before I hit the ground. And so they were like, well, we need you to go to the doctor and do a freaking drug test and all this. So I was like, that's cool. I'm completely sober. No problem. Right. So I'm at the hospital, and they took a urine sample and they took a blood sample, and I hit my head like on the latch for the stall or whatever, and the doctor, man, you should have seen the look on that doctor's face. He's like, "How about a tetanus shot?" And I was like, "Nah, bro. I hit my head on something galvanized. I've had tetanus before. Don't worry about it." And then they were like, "Well, we need to give you an MRI." And something told me, "Okay, they have your samples for your labs. Get up and walk out." And I fucking left, dude. I got this weird feeling because they moved me to like another part of the hospital where I was just sitting there in a chair behind a curtain. And this was right after I'd gotten over COVID. And I was like, "Okay, I'm out of here." I told them, I was like, "Hey, I got to go outside and get some air." And then I went and got in my car and left. And my labs came back all negative because I wasn't high, I wasn't drunk, none of that, you know? And yeah, dude, dude, just the way that doctor was like, they think everybody who works in government and works in the medical profession thinks we're all a pack of idiots. Like we're all on the spectrum, we're all, you know, like, yeah. And so that's why I don't really, dude, I keep to myself. I'm self-employed for the most part. I don't really trust people. And if people try to corral me in with their little control complexes, I just jet. I'm like, I'm good. I'm probably gonna end up leaving here as soon as winter's over, dude, and go to like Salt Lake or some other place that's bigger than here that I can go make money at, dude. Because yeah.
Yeah, I bail on everything. I live in the middle of nowhere, all by myself with just my animals, just me and my animals. And
East Oregon, there's a bunch of people exactly like that just live on their farm out in the middle of nowhere. But Oregon's liberal and they're like super like locked down when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I knew a bunch of people who moved out of Central and Eastern Oregon to come over here to Idaho because they were like, you know, the government shut my restaurant down. The government shut my business down. And at least Idaho wasn't doing that. They're like, no. If during COVID, Idaho, you had to wear a mask to go into a federal building. That was it. They weren't doing restaurant closures or any of that nonsense. You know?
Yeah,
Denver's pretty liberal.
I still think people are gonna look back on that time period and think of it as they wish they could go back to 2020, 2021. But anyway, I'm outside freezing and my battery is almost dead on my laptop, so I'm gonna call it a night. And I've got some like 5-day-old puppies. I'm gonna have to go in there and check on them, make sure they're all doing good and their mom's still in there with them.
Straight up.
But thanks for coming on. I can always, I guess, count on you. You always seem to be the only one willing to come on and talk. I was hoping somebody would come on at least that had seen something in the sky, but I'll probably get comments on the video after the fact. Seems like most people see my videos. Like I don't know. I mean, you find them, but it seems like most people like don't know that it's live, and then they're like, "Oh, I missed you live," and it's like, well, I don't know what to tell you because Cecil finds it. I don't know what's going on.
Are you backed up on BitChute?
Rumble.
Okay.
I think maybe BitChute too. Does BitChute like does it automatically, like if you do a live stream on YouTube, does it automatically upload to BitChute? I haven't checked my BitChute in like over a year.
So
Odyssey used to automatically save it to Odyssey, but I think Odyssey, like, is it even still around? I think it might have gone under.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just download it and then upload it to Rumble. Most of my stuff's on Rumble. I have stuff on Rumble that's not on YouTube because I can't put it on YouTube. Right. And this one here is going to probably go to Rumble, and I might delete it off here because YouTube's just ridiculous anymore. And,
right.
Rumble has issues as well. Rumble's starting to really tick me off. It used to be great. I used to be like, oh, it's so great that we have this free speech on Rumble. But man, their ads are starting to get really annoying and their ads will go on. Like if you don't, after 5 seconds or whatever, if you don't say skip ad, it'll play. And like some of their ads are like 45 minutes long, I think. and because I used to go to sleep at night with like a Rumble video playing, and it would just go to, it'd play and I'd fall asleep. Now I get woke up and it's like in the middle of an ad, and it's like 30 minutes into an ad, and I'm like, what the hell? Like, why? Rumble just plays way too many ads, and so but it's the best, I guess, that we have for now, as far as at least being able to talk freely. I guess it's the price you pay, is you have to sit through, like, it's crazy because, like, you can X out of the Rumble ads like at 5 seconds, and usually there's 2 at the beginning, and then they'll just throw them throughout there, and you can watch an hour-long video, and there might be 10 or 15 ad breaks, and you're like, it's just like the flow, it just destroys it,
Right.
You listen to what's going on, and all of a sudden it's like, the government doesn't want you to have this thing because it's like, what? It's like, get the hell out of here. Nobody cares.
That's a lot of ads for one video,
It's
man.
ridiculous how many, and it happened within, like, I don't know, three months maybe. I saw, like, okay, now every Rumble ad starts with 2 ads, and I can, and then it's like, okay, and now I can watch the rest of the video.
They want you to pay money just to watch their platform.
And they're like ridiculous ads. Like, a big chunk of them are pro-Trump ads, so I can't click off those fast enough. And then they got this thing now where they're like, the government doesn't want you to have this flashlight. It's like, really? Like, the government not want me to have a flashlight, I wouldn't be able to get the flashlight. Okay. Amazon doesn't want you to have this zoom lens. And I'm like, Amazon doesn't care. I don't think they're hurting for revenue. They don't really care about your stupid flashlight or your zoom lens.
But yeah, BitChute does mirror like, if you have to link the 2 accounts and make sure it's working. I had to get a hold of BitChute technical support to get them to make it work. But yeah, there's a thing that you could do. There's a page on your BitChute account that allows you to link your YouTube, and so it'll automatically upload over there if anything you upload over here.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could do it if I ever care enough to do it. But one thing that I just never like BitChute, because the interface, when I go to the BitChute page, I look at it and it looks like a kid put it together in a finger painting class. It's just a mess. I can never find anything on BitChute. It just seems like it's all over the place.
It's also very like trying to search stuff on there. It's very like what do you call that? Case sensitive. Like, you have to type in exactly what it is that you're searching on there, and if you're off, if you miss a cap or whatever, you're not going to be able to find stuff.
Yeah, I don't know why it would be so hard to have somebody basically take the code from YouTube and just tweak it enough to where it's not like a copyright, like you're not stealing it, but it's still pretty much got all the same features and looks similar. It's like every time there's like another video platform, it's like there's all these, like, another thing about Rumble that I hate is, like, how like on YouTube, if you watch a quarter of a video and then 2 days later you go back to that video and it shows you, and then you click it and it starts up where you left off. Rumble 95% of the time won't even show that you've watched the video, so you think it's like, oh, it's a brand new video. It's like, I saw this like 4 days ago. It won't put like a progress bar saying like you viewed it already or you stopped at the halfway point. It's like everything's got all these problems, and in 2024 they could fix that in like with like 2 lines of code in like a minute. But it's almost like they make it just annoying enough just to bother you. Like, yeah, we could fix this super annoying feature in like 10 minutes, but it's almost like how some things like the DMV are just set up to just piss you off. It's kind of like how these video platforms are. They're like, we're going to just make it annoying enough and never fix it and just like irritate people. I don't know. It's crazy. It's a crazy world. Oh, hey, Eric, nice to see you here. I didn't notice you over there. I don't hardly ever look at the chat, but yeah, I got to get going because, like I said, I'm freezing, and I do. Hopefully, at some point, maybe I'll make that video about the celebrity replacement stuff in the 5 different categories, and I'll have examples. And like, I don't know what's going on with that whole thing, but I do find it fascinating. And a lot of times, I'll be watching a show, and I'll be like, "Oh, that actress, I know her from like blah blah blah," and then I look like on IMDb. And it's not even the same person. I'm like, wait, that's the woman on, and you look, and they're two different actresses, and it's crazy how much they look alike.
The funny thing is, man, the freaking the Resident Evil movies, they openly talk about how they have clones of like the main, like Mila Jovovich. Cloning is a major theme in all the Resident Evil movies, and that girl Mila Jovovich who plays Alice is like supposedly a Ukraine. She's from the Ukraine, and she's like 47 years old. It's kind of funny. She doesn't look that old, but I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's those superior Ukrainian genetics or something, but you know, it's kind of like a dog whistle out in the open whistle, something, you know, like
revelation of method, like they tell you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think they've had cloning since at least the 1940s. Humans,
For
like
sure.
cloning humans. The thing is, like, if you cloned yourself today, you think in your head, like, if they cloned you today, you would start off a newborn baby and you'd have to grow up for however old you are now, that many years. There's a way, they have a way now where they can basically make the clones and they're full grown, like they're ready to go. But I've heard they're called organic robotoids. And the last I heard on it was they break down. And that's why you ever see these glitches, like where Lady Gaga like just freezes or something, or they're talking to an interviewer and all of a sudden it's like they just like short circuit. Those are the organic robotoids breaking down. And at that point, when they just hope it doesn't happen at a public event, but if it does, it's like, well, got to replace it again.
But it has happened a bunch of times.
Yeah, and I think those are when they break down and they have to replace them. Or it could just be an act, you know, they could just be faking it just to freak people out. People are evil, and like if they can like freak people out and make them waste a bunch of time trying to figure out if Eminem's been cloned or not, I think they find that amusing, you know.
Taylor Swift.
Well, she's actually in my video I'm making. Have you ever looked at a really good picture of her side by side with Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah, I just saw that one, dude.
I swear to God, man, something's going on.
Supposedly, she's like the spitting image of Anton LaVey's daughter, Xena.
Yeah. And she's, I mean, close. I think she looks more like Napoleon Dynamite than she looks like Xena LaVey.
Look, like this does actually happen naturally. There are actual natural doubles or long lost twins, or you know, there's only so many combinations of facial structures out there, dude. It does happen, you know.
But for them both to end up in the same profession and become celebrities and famous and recognizable, and they just happen to look exactly alike.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had like two actors and they look like, wow, I can't tell them apart. Okay. But when there's literally like dozens and dozens of them,
right. Yeah.
Like something's not adding up. But like I said, I'll try and make a video on that just for something fun to do. But I stay pretty busy out here because I'm by myself, so I do everything. I have to take care of all the animals and do any repairs and everything by myself. So either I don't have time, or when I do, I'm just too exhausted to mess with it. But I'll try.
Mariah Carey was supposedly a clone of like a porn star or some shit. Like, who knows, man?
Yeah, I see a lot of these people who are supposed to be like these gorgeous celebrities. I find them extremely unattractive. Actually, I don't even know if I could name one that I found. I think the only celebrity I ever found attractive was Brittany Murphy. For some reason, I thought Brittany Murphy was just gorgeous, but like everybody else, like I think they're disgusting looking.
It's that energy that they take on from like what they do to them, and like, you know, like
I think a lot of them are so traumatized as children that you almost can't like blame them for being so messed up. But I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of them willingly said, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes to be rich and famous. So, but I think the ones that were basically screwed up as children, like Justin Bieber or something like that, I do have some sympathy for those people. And I put all the blame on their parents for putting him in that situation at a time when they really didn't know what the hell was going on.
their parents basically pimping them out to rich movie people and
Yeah, because they know that all that money that kid's going to make, it's going to be their money until they're 18. They're going to, a lot of child celebrities, by the time they reach 18, they're dirt broke because their parents spent all their money. So they sell their kids out for the money. And it's really sad because like some of these kids are adults now and they're just messed up. I mean, they're just absolutely destroyed psychologically. So anyway, all right, man, this time I really am going to go.
All right, bro. I got you on Notify. I'll talk to you later. Talk to you next
All right,
time.
take care and God bless everyone.
Thanks, bro.